I think I call retarded one eye's closed. Yeah. Been a late night. Been out bowling all night. Had a few beers. I think I look like it. I can see myself in the video. We're here to have fun. So, Common Sense Fishing live. Here to just hang out and chill. It's a late Sunday. I'm going to go to bed here in a bit, but figured, you know what? Let's just jump on and see if anyone wants to hang out. Just talk about whatever. Obviously, this is a fishing channel, but we talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So make sure you guys have your notifications checked because I could drop live or go live at any minute. And not only that, but basically we do giveaways, all kinds of cool stuff. Now, in my defense, this last year or so has been really lacking on the channel, and that's my fault. And that's mostly been to the fact that we had a big family issue happen, which a lot of us have life happen to us. You know what I mean? So you get these dreams, you start a YouTube channel, you go all in, you grow it a little bit, and then life just kicks you in the nuts. So obviously, I've got I don't know if you know or not, if you're new here, but I've got a heating and air conditioning business, and I'm the owner and primary worker, so I barely have like two helpers. So I'm pretty much busy all the time, and that's where I make all my money. This is a hobby, just to hang out, have fun. So I like to talk about fishing, heating and air conditioning, politics, news, religion, weird stuff, aliens, scary stories, and just real life experiences too. Because I tell you what, if you're new here, I'm an open book, and I've got one hell of a crazy testimony or story. Like if I told my story from childhood to current date, I could probably sell a few books, write a few books, right? And a lot of us actually could. The more and more I learn and more people I meet, the more I'm like, I'm not that unique. I know I'm unique in the sense of some of the stuff I've been through. Not a lot of people have, but at the same time, once you start talking to people and they open up, you know, maybe not the same experiences, but a lot of people gone through some pretty crazy stuff in life. So the more we share with each other, the more you know. So, anyways, obviously, if you can't tell, I've had a few beers, so I'm just chilling, chugging them. But yeah, don't have any on me now, and I'm not wasted or nothing. Just caught a cool little buzz, out at the bowling alley, throwing that bowling ball, 16-pound bowling ball, and then obviously the way I throw it is I throw it with a curve, and then I throw it one-handed. So and then bowling ball, you use the three fingers like this. I actually use two. So I put the two in the ball like this, and then where the thumb's supposed to go, I keep it out. Then I hold the ball right like this, and then when I bowl, I spin it and I kind of rip, and it gives it a curve. And I have a counterbalance like a $500 bowling ball that, man, that sucker, and it's 16 pounds. So here's the deal: that's like one of the heaviest bowling balls you can get. They go all the way down to like 6 pounds. So there's 6, 8, 10, you got 11, 12, 14. You got all kinds of different weights. So I use the big ball, the big old heavy mother trucker. So get a lot of strikes. I got a couple of really high scores tonight, 170 something, 150 something a couple times. Couldn't break 200. Haven't hit a perfect game 300 yet, but I'm getting close. I'm getting in the 220 something range. I'm getting close. I'm like a strike or two off, in a couple of games that I've gotten, but that's like at my best. So it's weird. Sometimes when I'm drunk, I do good. Sometimes when I'm sober, I do good. And I suck when I'm drunk. Sometimes I suck when I'm sober. It's kind of a muscle memory thing. So the more you do it, the better you get. But bowling's fun. So if you don't do it, try it out. I tell you what, bowling, golfing, fishing, those are some sports that people would think would be like boring as hell, like those are old white man sports. But I tell you what, man, they're super fun. Like go hit the bowling alley, have a few beers, order a pizza. Most bowling alleys have all that kind of stuff. If you don't drink, great. Order a pizza, put some music on the jukebox, go hit the lanes and have a good time. You'd be surprised. It's a really exhilarating experience. Stuff like axe throwing. I've been doing axe throwing. I'm actually pretty good at it. I've got a video where I got like 3 bullseyes in a row. Um, Axe throwing's pretty fun. A lot of cool stuff. Go-kart driving. Go out. You know the old saying, "Go out and touch grass. Get out and get in the real world and do stuff." Well, anyways, though, I'm gonna go to bed here in a bit, but looks like we only got one person on hanging out, and they just dropped off. They don't want to hear what I have to say. It's just me. I mean, if I had someone to interact with, I would talk back, we could talk about news, politics, all that good stuff. But unfortunately, the Google algorithm, the YouTube algorithm hasn't been very kind to the channel. And I don't know, maybe I'm not producing the best content. I'm trying. I got 5 kids, I got a life, I got a business. I'm out fishing all the time, trying to put together videos. I've got like 3 or 4 double digits on the channel. I've caught like 4 or 5, or no, 5 in real life, but and I'm working on upping that number greatly. Like every year, I want to catch a couple double digits. Oh well, hey, the Bassin. I appreciate it. I got a lot of Don Pedro stuff about to come out. I'm actually working on pumping out like 3 or 4 from Don Pedro recently. We've been catching S-Waver fish out there, and we've been yesterday. Me and my brother caught a little over 40 bass with our best 5, probably going like 13, 14 pounds. We had a good time. My brother doesn't fish very often, and we just found out he has a heart condition where he can like drop dead at any moment. So trying to like get him out fishing and teach him how to stress relief a little better. And so I found a school of like a good probably 1,000 bass. Well, they're not all in one school. There's a huge giant bait ball, and then there'll be schools of 20, 30 bass, 15 bass, and they'll basically be breaking bait balls off of the main bait chunk and then feeding on it. And the only reason I know that is, I had an idea that was going on. I could see with my 2D and with my down scan and my side view on my on my, my hummingbird. But when we were out there fishing, we were just destroying them. Me and my brother were at Don Pedro, and you got that video will come out soon. We were just killing it, having a grand old time, and like 40 fish in, we decided it's like 11:30. We decided we're gonna go get lunch, and I see this boat just fishing the shore like most guys are, throwing like jigs or bottom bouncers, and they've been there an hour, and I didn't see them catch like a single fish. So when we put by them, of course, I stopped by and I'm like, hey, there's a really big ball of bait out there. There's a bunch of bass on them. We've got like, 30, 40 bass already. Why don't you guys go pick on them for a while? We're going to go to lunch. And then when we get back, we'll fish together. And, that way we can share the spot. And so they were cool. They were like, yeah, let's do that. And so they went and checked on it. And as we left, they were still fishing the shore, but they were working their way towards where we were talking, and we told them. And we go to the marina, we have lunch, we eat, we get some chicken strips, French fries, all that good stuff. And then get on the boat. We take like an hour lunch or more, and I throw an S-Waver around the marina because I've been killing them on the S-Wavers around the marina lately, but bite kind of shut off the other day. I think a lot of those trout are out of that area now, so I need to just go around more. But anyways, we went back to that school, and we went back to that school and basically sat there with this other bass boat, and we caught a couple more fish, and they caught a couple more, but the bite had kind of died down. But they were explaining what they were seeing on LiveScope, and they were like, yeah, this is a giant bait ball. It's like 20 feet thick. They were seeing, big groups of bass go in there and tear the bait up. And they were so excited. I guess apparently they were like not catching anything. They maybe had a fish or two. And then when I pointed them to the spot, I think they caught, like they said, 10 to 12 fish each. So they were extremely excited. You know, they had like a 20 something fish day in probably an hour, 2 hours while we were having lunch. And we came back, and when here's the true story. You're going to see this in the video. Um, we were fishing, right? And so we're all talking, we're hanging out, and we're on the school of fish, and we're just punking them together. And so I've got a big 5-inch flutter spoon, and they're using a 1-inch like Castmaster, like a 1 ounce. And we're jigging together, and I hook one, and well, I get bit, right? I'm not sure did I hook them, or I tried to hook them, and it felt like I didn't hook into them, and it's just like dead slack. So I'm like, whatever. So I let it hit the bottom. It feels like, and I feel the tension. So I set again, and it's the fish. I start fighting it, and the fish comes in, right? And I land the fish, and it's got the dude in the across from me. It's got that guy in the boat. It's got his Castmaster in the mouth, and it's got my spoon on the other side. The greedy ass bass ate both lures before it realized it had even been caught. It was so crazy. So I actually have that on video with two lures stuck in this fish's face. Yeah, if I don't have it on video, I know I at least got it on my phone, because my GoPro died at some point, so I don't remember where the GoPro died. But I got it on picture, I got it on phone, I got all that, so I'll mash it all together. But like I said, we got a lot of S-Waver fish coming up, so you'll see a lot of videos of S-Waver fish. But yeah, that'll be. Let's see, I probably have about 8 or 9 more videos I got to release. 4 of them are already produced and made. They're in the members only section. So if you're a member, you can watch them. So they always go early release. So members have access. And then about a month later, they're going to hit. So I've got a couple spawning videos where we're catching like 20-pound bags. I have a spawn video where we get about a 30-pound bag with a 7-pound spot. That's coming up out of Lake McSwain. So little teaser there is Lake McSwain has monster bass, and I'm going to be doing a little bit more fishing at Lake McSwain, hint hint. And so the next year or two, you guys are probably going to see some more content of some 5 to 10 pound bass being caught out of Lake McSwain. So watch out for that. I've got a lot of that coming up, but I plan on doing some more. And I'll tell you right now, those fish are a sucker for an S-Waver and a jig. That's pretty much all I use there. There's really snaggy. It's a really snaggy, craggly lake. It's really hard to fish with a bottom bouncer. The other thing can be a Senko there, weightless or with a small nail weight to help it, like a flying lure. It pulls backwards. The nail weight pulls it down, makes it sink kind of quick, but it sinks backwards because the nail weight don't just pull it straight down. The nail weight, when it drops, kind of makes it so instead of falling like a Senko like this, if you put a nail weight in the back end of the Senko, it brings the Senko down like this and makes it fall like a flutter spoon. So if you want a little super secret trick of mine that I've told on videos, but I guess only so many people listen, and I don't know if people know this trick or not. But take a good old Senko. Don't put a bullet weight or any split shot or any kind of weight on it. Take whatever hook you want to use, skip gap, Texas rig style, whatever. Well, Texas rig is a bullet weight, but you know what I mean. What they call offset or whatever, worm hooks. But you get a hook and put whatever bait you want to use on that. But I would suggest a Senko, like a 5-inch, 6-inch, or 7-inch. With a you want to use kind of a bigger Senko when you're doing this technique, so you have room to put the nail weight into the end. You can use a 4-inch and insert the nail weight right in the end. You have the hook right here, and then you'll have, let's say, a couple inches of the Senko, and the nail weight goes right there. You insert the nail weight in the tail, and it falls backwards like a flutter spoon. So you can go to a dock, cast your Senko at the dock, right? And then the Senko, when it falls, instead of falling straight down, it will actually sink underneath the dock, like an old school flying lure, if you know what I'm talking about. So that's actually a really badass tip that I don't think enough people realize. Having a lure that falls backwards means that you can cover the same amount of shoreline a lot more efficiently. So instead of hopping like this and then having so much time with your lure on the bottom or dragging, right, and then moving it along, when you use a lure that goes backwards, you can use it 100 times or a bunch more times and it barely moves forward because it goes like this. You pop it up and then it falls back, and you pop it up and then it falls back, and then you pop it up and then it falls back, and then it has a kind of glide, like a glide bait. It has a fall that's really weird. So yeah, guys in my fishing club, we all use zoom worms way cheaper the trick worm. How about Nico rig? Yeah, Nico rig's cool. Nico rig's just basically a wacky rig, and then you're going to use basically a robo worm, a Cinco. You're going to use whatever you're going to use, and you use a little rubber band. You put the hook through it, and you got wacky rig like this, or you can use it like this, line in line, or you can turn it so it's like a cross. So it's wacky rig, Nico, or you can use it where it's line like that, and it's more weedless like that if you use it that way. Little catches a little bit less debris. To be honest, the last year, I've kind of say that I've graduated to where all I do now is I have two approaches to bass fishing. Um, big ass fish, big ass fish are almost always in 0 to 20 feet of water. And then they can be over 100, 200 feet of water next to docks, houseboats, cables, buoys, things that provide shade, structure, anything, right? But in general, they're either going to be right up against shore or they're going to be out under houseboats, marinas in the shade, right? And the 1 to 3 pounders, 1 to 4 pounders that you can catch to win a tournament or get your 5, those could be offshore everywhere, 60, 100 feet deep, 80 feet deep, 40, whatever. A lot of the times the big ass fish are going to find upper shallow. So here's how I fish now, pretty much religiously, is I'm throwing big ass swim baits, top water, or some form of reaction, and I'm fishing over main lake points, and I'm fishing big rock and boulder. I'm fishing island tops. I'm fishing houseboats. I'm fishing marinas, and I'm fishing, and I'm getting up real tight into like a foot of water, letting my boat bang against shore even, and then bringing and taking my lure, bombing it out and bringing it in, and using a reaction, trying to draw a fish in, and then as a fish that lure starts getting closer and closer to shore and to the boat, then it'll strike. But you also, it's usually best bet is you find a main lake point, and then instead of fishing parallel, yeah, you fish parallel, and then as you get close to the main lake point, you kind of swing out. Instead of being really tight, you swing out a little bit, and then you fish across the point, so that a bass that's sitting out here, maybe an 8, 10, 12 feet, whatever it is, off a big boulder out looking out, you cast your big S waver and you move it across that point, right? So I'm either doing that and I'm throwing big lures like top water, S wave, or A rig, big lures, or I'm going to pull off and I'm only throwing jigs, LV 500s, and big flutter spoons. So I don't throw worms. I don't throw drop shot. I don't throw Cincos anymore. I don't throw jack shit rubber or small anymore. I'm honest. Like, I've kind of, I guess you would say, stepped my game up. Because I tell you, I've done a lot of fishing and I'm good at catching 100 fish. I'm good at catching 20 fish, 30, 40, 50 fish. And when the pressure's not on or I don't have a partner that I'm arguing with, I'm pretty decent at catching big or good fish too and getting decent bags. However, what's always separated from why I could never really place in the top 10 in tournaments recently, I got all these tournaments, trophies. I'm going to show you guys. You guys ready? Check it out. I got all of these. All of those. There's Ryan Cook right there. All of those that you see right there. All right. There's a shitload of trophies, and I have a few that aren't hanging up. those are all from fishing a rubber raft against big ass bass boats in the Future Pro Tour with my buddy Jeremy. And we just fished our hearts out, and we fished the way we were as we were kids. We didn't fish to catch 100 fish, 20 fish. We fished to catch 5 fish, big fish, good fish. We went out and we fished crankbaits and spinner baits and top water. And we bottom balanced when we needed to, but not much. And we were able to do a lot better. Now, the last 10 years, I've been Ned Rig and Nico and Drop Shot. And you'll see me catch all these damn fish. But you'll notice all my big fish have came off of stuff like crankbaits, jigs, S-wavers, top water, stuff like that. And I've got a lot of 9-pounders, 8-pounders, and 10-pounders, and they're all on jigs, crankbaits, S-wavers, top water, reaction, big, powerful baits that draw these big fish, not these little dinky ass baits. I do have some big fish on the dinky ass baits. Don't get me wrong. But I found that I would prefer greatly to fish for the right fish instead of for lots of fish now. The only time I'll fish for lots of fish is when I have like a friend or family member with me and I want to put them on numbers. Then it's like, come on, let's go have fun. At this point, I'm done with catching 100 fish. I'd just rather catch the monsters, and I'd rather go out and catch 0 fish all day. But after every 1 to 3 fish, 5 fishing trips, have like a double digit or an 8-pounder. Like that's the shit, or at least a 5+. I'm tired of going out and catching a bunch of 2.5-pounders. I could go out almost every day and throw some form of drop shot, Nico rig, Ned rig, or even small finesse jig, and probably consistently pull between 10 and like 13 pounds at almost any lake, anywhere. But breaking that barrier of the 12-pound range seems like you have to be throwing swim bait, you have to be throwing A-rigs, top water, you have to be, if you're bottom balancing, it should be a jig or an LV 500 or something. And at least that's where all my big fish have been coming lately. So my daughter almost died in October last year. She has brain damage. She lost her leg got amputated. And I had a lot of stress and a lot of family stuff I had to catch up on and figure out, right? In business, I own my own HVAC business. So all summer I was slammed. So all my videos, unfortunately, are about 6 months past due. So I just dropped a video of me catching a double digit on a bed at McClure like a week ago. It's only got like 500 views. Shitty footage though, because of just how, having the GoPro on my head. And then when you hook into a double digit, you don't want to reach up to hit record, because I don't have my voice commands on, because the stupid thing turns on and off all the time when I'm just talking with my partner, when it hears random words and I might not hear it turn on or off. And so batteries wasted, and it was frustrating. So I missed a lot of footage recently because I don't have power stations, because my boat doesn't have chargers. My boat's real rudimentary. So unless I brought like a solar charger or a battery pack online, I don't have anything set up to charge my boat, right? So, or to charge my phone or to charge my GoPro. So it's just got the batteries that I got. And, a lot of times too, it'll overheat in the summer or any warm time when it's in the sun. So it's been frustrating as trying to build a channel with quality footage, but I've got a lot of good fish. And so anyways, this last year, you're going to see I've got a double digit 8-pounder. I've got a ton of like 6s, 7s, 5s, 20-pound, 25, 30-pound bags. There's going to be a lot of cool videos coming out. So that'll be hitting next soon. So the problem is I can catch so many small bass under 3 pounds, but I hardly ever catch them any bigger. And they put in hundreds of hours with big swim baits. You honestly just have like 5 extra batteries. I have a GoPro Hero 10 and I put a battery case and I swap out batteries when they die. That's exactly what I do. The Bass Assassin is I just basically have like 4 or 5 extra batteries in the last couple trips, and some of them I've just been kind of just screwed up. Only had 1 or 2 charged. I took my brother fishing. I only have 1.5 batteries, so out of 40 fish, I probably only got like 10 or 12 on video, maybe 15. Um, so, and I didn't have the outro, but I got pictures on my cell phone, man, just holding nice, nice bass, like I said, about a 13-pound bag or so, like some 2.5 pounders, 3 pounders, almost a 15-pound bag. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? Most guys, man, on their boats, they have these setups where you plug in where your light pole goes. I got one of those and I could utilize that, but it's only one angle. So whenever I want to get my PV angle from my head or from my chest, I have to use the GoPro, and it can't be bad. It can't be like powered, but I do have the big rod. But I found that what happened is if when I use that, I have to run back to the back of the boat and hit record. So let's say I'm sitting in the front on the trolling motor and I fish it by myself a lot. So I got the GoPro in the back of the boat. I'm sitting up front. I hook into, let's say, a 6-pound bass. And I don't want to miss my footage, but I don't want to lose my fish. So I got to hook this fish and then slowly work my way to the back of the boat where the light's at, reach up and hit the GoPro record button, and then keep fishing. Because I'll tell you right now, when you use voice commands, oh, it's freaking retarded. My GoPro sucks balls. Like, it would never listen to me, turns on and off all the time, records when it shouldn't be, wastes batteries galore. So it's been a little bit of a challenge, but newer bass boats and upgraded stuff, they have chargers on the boats. Of course, I could install that on the boat I got now. My boat's really beat up, dirty. I need to replace the carpets. There's some flooring I even need to replace where the front chair is. I don't have the right fish finder, or not fish finder, but the trolling motor that I have isn't set up 100%. The GPS puck's missing, so the whenever I hit spot lock, it'll turn unlimited times, and then it breaks and rips any transducer. So I can't have any freaking electronics on the front of the boat. I can only have electronics on the back of the boat. 90 horsepower, 17 foot. The live well doesn't work the greatest. A lot of the tubes are partially plugged, so they need to be undone, blown out, cleaned out. The pumps need to be replaced. The aerator doesn't work, but the pump does. The pump out valve, it doesn't work. If I pull it, it won't pump the water out of the live well. It just has to drain naturally. There's a lot of shit wrong with my old Nitro that it's like it works hella good for a fun boat. So I go out on the water and I kill it. I have fun. I bass fish all day. It's great, but it sucks for tournament fishing. So I'm tired of throwing my money away trying to be Mr. Tournament guy for the YouTube channel when I know it's honestly not a realistic shot. Sure, we bass fished in the freaking life raft, but literally the live well I have is so janky that I just don't want to kill a fish, tournament fishing. And also the way nowadays you have to drive up to the weigh-in. My live well is just like won't keep the fish alive dang there. So especially in warmer months. So it's just like, really, I'm not trying to tournament fish just yet. But I am working on getting a new bass boat. I own my own business. I'm not rich or nothing, not, well off, but, I'm doing all right. So if things go uh, better or just stay good, for a year or two, then I'll be able to upgrade. I'll be able to do better videos. And if we can get this channel to 10, 20,000 subs where we can sell some merch, where we can do some more stuff, it would be a lot easier to invest in hiring like a part-time editor who could come in and clean up the videos, who could take all my footage, and I might be missing gems and really cool important parts where we're hanging out, we're drinking beers, doing like the Greg Blanchard stuff, and we're sharing memories, but then I cut the stuff in editing and I don't put it in the video because I don't see the what do you call it? I don't see the benefit of it, and I'm strictly focusing on the fishing aspect. And then I don't tell a proper story. Sometimes I go out to the lake, I just catch fish and I record it. I tell you what I'm catching them on, I let you see what I'm doing. It's very basic and simple. I'm not really breaking down the techniques, the gear, and all the stuff as much. So I'm realizing this, and I'm trying to focus on trying to provide better content for you guys and gals. And the other thing is these live streams. I haven't been doing them in forever, and so look, it's just me and you pretty much hanging out, Bass Assassin. But thanks for hanging out and giving me some stuff to talk about. I read your comments, and we can interact. And hopefully one day this channel might grow into something. But anyways, let's see what you said. Oh yeah, you would have to buy a second one, but then you would have two. So that would be cool. Yeah, man, I tried those voice commands. They're straight ass. Yep. You should get a second camera. I actually do have a second. It's just I fish so much by myself. It's a bitch trying to run around the boat. Hit your head, hit the one on your head, hit the one on your chest, go hit the one over here. And then what'll happen is you'll be like, well, we're gonna go get on the spot. We're gonna do this. You'll hit record on everything, and it'll be an hour, 30 minutes of just nothing, no fish, boring as fuck, like wasting all this battery, all this memory. And then you'll go turn the GoPros off, and then all of a sudden you start tearing them up. Oh, what the fuck? Miss all your action. Like, no, run back, and all you're catching is you landing the fish or holding the fish. That's been my luck lately. It's because of the setups and what I'm using and how I'm using it. Not having any other anglers on board to help, not having any editors or any stuff. But if we can grow the channel, the idea would be eventually, it would be pretty cool to do all that. But on the live streams, I'll talk about whatever: politics, news, fishing, gaming, videos, hacks, how to, heating and air, electrical, fix it yourself, mechanical, you name it, dude. I'm a jack of all trades. I could bullshit all day and night. Like, I could never shut up. I got ADHD. So as long as we got viewers, there's stuff I could talk about. And I could definitely, I don't just keep rambling. I like to read the comments and interact. So it's a very interactive channel. I just wish we had more people that were on here to make it better than what it is. You know what I mean? So let's keep reading. A lot of little things add up. I have fun fishing club tournaments in my club, but I haven't been doing them since it's a lot of money to be doing them all the time. Definitely. I recorded and edited a really nice video, caught 20 plus from a bank, and it then spent 8 hours editing, and then my files got corrupted somehow, so I haven't tried making more videos since. Yeah, well, thanks, man. I try to be a cool guy. I try to be, how do you say, not necessarily a cool dude. I don't really care too much about what people think. So like, I dress kind of bummy a lot of times. I may not always have my hair did and my beard, trimmed all correctly or shaved up all right. I'm not grody and dirty, but I'm kind of just a me, love having fun, being honest and open, and being genuine. So I don't really fake much. You'd be lying if you run around and telling people you don't ever lie. You don't ever what's the word I'm looking for? Exaggerate, or you don't ever do this or that. No. But I try to be as forthcoming, as honest, as open, as down to earth and relatable as possible to everything in life that I do with my kids, so that we can communicate. I can try to teach them how to be the best kids and raise them up the best possible. With my customers in my heating and air conditioning business, so they know they're just not money. They're not just a customer. They're important to me, and I care about them, and treat everybody, So I guess it's I was raised Christian, went to church, and a lot of it's that, I guess, innately kind of bred into you to try to treat others the way you would want to be treated, and then having gone through so much shit in life, being homeless, being abused, foster care, being in jail, having a strike, having like my rights taken away for something I never did, being innocent, having the kids pass away, having a kid almost die after that, going through a divorce. Like, life's kicked me in the nuts multiple times, but at the same time, for every door that's been closed, I've seen so many miracles. I've seen so much awesomeness. I've seen so much positivity and love that I'm not really black pilled. I'm real chill, like a white pilled dude kind of. Sometimes I'm black pilled on like financial and government shit, but I'm always happy to chat about whatever. So especially fishing, that's my passion. But I would love to grow this channel into kind of like more of a fit, more than just fishing. So there's a couple channels I could think of where the like the fat electrician, where the dude was an electrician. All his videos were about electrician stuff, but eventually he became like a popular, um, almost like political guy, or just opinion guy because he was down to earth and people liked his views and he was just honest and interactive. And that's kind of like what I want to do with this channel is hopefully grow it to where it's kind of like the jack of all trades channel because I own a business, I do heating and air. If I could help the youth and guide them towards how to make money without getting into student debt, how to fix things yourself, how to save money on your own, fix it hacks, and teach stuff about fishing, and how to, because you can feed yourself. It's important sometimes. People got to realize at these lakes and these big bodies of water that they're filled with 1 to 3 pound bass. And it's perfectly okay to keep your 5. Take a couple guys out with you. Go 2, 3 dudes, keep 10, 15 bass, 1 to 3 pounds. Have a fish fry. What isn't okay, in my opinion, is don't take the 5 to 10 pound bass home and eat them. Don't take the 8 pound bass home and eat them. Take the smaller bass, take the males, take the 1,000, don't take 1,000, but take some of the millions of little dinks that are in the lake, and you actually help the lake become a more productive, healthy lake. And then you also save money and you go out fishing and you get some food for it. So there's a lot of cool stuff we could talk about on this channel. It's just having the audience, having the people to talk to it with. So yeah, I hate seeing people take big bass too, that's what I was saying. And yeah, so like the fat electrician, of course, this is a fishing channel. We start with the fishing videos, but if slowly I can encourage people to open up about their feelings or their thoughts on stuff, it doesn't even have to be, we don't have to get super political, but we can get about like current events, um, life hacks, like work ethics, like interview stuff. Like I've got 5 kids. I've gone through 2 marriages. I've had around 25 to 30 people die around me in like a course of maybe 20 years or so. So I've dealt with a lot of loss. I've dealt with a lot of like heartache. I've dealt with a lot of stress, but I've also dealt with a lot of miracles, positivity, happiness. When the door just seems like it's slammed in your face and the world seems like it's on your shoulders, when that weight get lifted and it's like that awe moment when it's just like gold gems are staring you at the face when you need them the most, like, metaphorically, when you've been saved or snatched from the jaws of defeat. I've seen so much of that in life. And so I don't know. I feel like I do honestly have stuff to share with people. But I honestly think a lot of us do, which is why the channel's not just about me. It's about you guys. You can share your comments, your feelings, your thoughts. And that way, one day, maybe this channel could grow into something more than what it is. And if it isn't, when I pass away and die, my kids, my family, people can go back and watch this and see what kind of person I was and get to just share a bit of life and memories with me. And so the internet's a crazy thing. As long as the internet's around, it's almost like immortality. By making these videos, by doing these things, it's like we're forever leaving our mark on the digital history of humanity. It's pretty cool. So it's a unique, fun thing. That's why I do it. Whether there's 1 or 2 or 3 people on here, whether there's 100 people on here, whether there was 1,000 people on here. Back in the heydays, we'd have 40 or 50 people on live. When we were doing our lives, there was the whole Ram Ranch when they goaded me into checking out Ram Ranch. Don't go look it up, please. When, there was just so much fun stuff we used to do on this channel when we did live streams. We did them like every Tuesday and Thursday. And that's what I'm trying to bring back. But, another thing is YouTube punishes you bad. So I go through a family emergency. My daughter nearly dies, loses her leg, gets brain damage. I'm over here just begging for God to save my daughter, and I make it through. She makes it through. Life's just like barely hanging on by a thread, it seems like, and I'm scraping by financially. And because I own my own business, and this is all happening in the off season, don't have a ton of money to deal with all this crap. The truck breaks down. I'm stuck in Arizona, thousands of dollars to get back home with the family, renting motels, rental car. Got to come back and get the truck. The parts were on back order for like 6 months due to COVID crap. The factory shut down shit, dude. Like the crazy stuff that's gone down in the last few years has just been like, it's been um, it's been a challenge, but every step of the way, God's provided, and every time a door is closed, another door is opened. And so, you know, like I said, I don't know. I just feel like I got a lot to share with people. And so, if there's only 2 or 3 people, or just 1,000, kind of got the same message, and I enjoy spending time with you guys. You know what I mean? Say, hey, nice to see you on, Steven. I like your channel. Learn a lot from you. Fish mostly Pedro and McClure since they kind of shut off Maloney's. Yeah, that's definitely my two favorite lakes. Now, Pedro's so expensive, and then the thing about McClure is the yearly pass is a year from when you buy it. So they made sure to do that. I went to go buy the year pass from Pedro like a month ago, and they're like, I guess it's December or January 1st to January 1st. So like the hell with that. So every time you go to Pedro with the boat, it's $40. So I'm like, I don't go to Pedro much because of how expensive it is. I just want to get the year pass, but I'm not stupid. I don't want to get the year pass for like 2 or 3 months. So I'm waiting to January to get the Pedro pass. So I've been mainly McClure, but I go to Pedro now and again. Eastman's a good one to go to every once in a while. I haven't been there too much recently. Um, Delta's fun, but I haven't been there too much. I've kind of been focusing mainly on these lakes, and been having a lot of fun doing it. It's there's a lot of these lakes are so cool. You can get up shallow at almost every time of year at McClure or Pedro. If you're fishing the right areas in the right way, you just got to find out like how you got to do it. There's fish up shallow. There's fish out deep. There's fish that's suspended. And so there's a lot of ways to catch them in the mother lode lakes. And some of my favorites have been throwing like these big swim baits and fishing ways that guys wouldn't really fish at McClure. Maybe they fish at Pedro that way, but not at McClure. McClure's not really known for being that kind of lake. But you fish McClure right, it's got some monsters. Using the Huddleston and like the mag draft, or like the soft swim baits, when it's like really cold, and when it's bluebird skies and not a lot of rain or overcast or wind or any of that. When there's wind, rain, overcast, and also it's not as cold or bluebird skies, an S-waver is more something you want, or basically a glide bait. A glide bait in those conditions, a swim bait towards the bottom on the colder conditions, when you're creeping like a big hut or something like that. And so that's kind of the way I've been fishing these these lakes for bigger fish. And then also turning around then and fishing things like the big 5-inch spoons. And McClure's really been turning out some nice big bass doing some non-traditional stuff by pulling out and fishing like 5-inch to even 11-inch flutter spoons off the Barrett's Cove Marina. Or if you get to like Temperance in the left side where that waterfall comes in, you pull to where the big rocks open up, and there's like a spot where it's like 40 to 80 feet deep right there. Big flutter spoons just kill some nice bass right there off them big rock piles. The S-waver works really great at a lot of the main lake points at McClure. A couple of the ones on entrance to Temperance, the McClure Point North Ramp, McClure Point South Ramp, the island by the spillway is really good. If you go into Cotton, there's a couple of creek arms that have some big boulder piles that you can fish. Depending on water level, there's also a giant bar that extends out in Cotton towards the back end on the right hand side. Big giant shallow flat that's great for throwing swim baits over and cracking big ass fish if you really want to catch monsters at McClure. Arnold Bay, Main Lake Point, And across from that, again, big swim baits. You can go into Piney, take a big swim bait and fish that big vertical wall, or whenever it's raining, in the back of Piney, back of Temperance, back of Cotton, throw those big swim baits. The other thing is any of those big waterfalls, like in the back of Arnold or in Piney, where it's like a 20-foot cut, 30-foot cut, 40-foot cut with a lot of water rushing in and real big vertical walls. A swim bait will kill it there. This is how you go to McClure and catch monsters. Don't go around and dingle a worm at McClure. Go throw some bigger baits and you'd be surprised they got some big ass fish at McClure. Yeah, that bridge is about 80 feet deep right now. Last time I went, the fish aren't quite there. At McClure, the fish were in like the 40 to 50-foot range, and the pillars and the bridge were at like 70 to 80 feet deep last time I was there. So that bridge, give it another probably month maybe, and if we don't get a lot of rain, that bridge might be a key factor. But if we get a wet year this year and we get a lot of rain and the lake level stays good or gets bigger even, then that bridge is probably never going to be a factor this year. But the bridge, when it is like a low key, when it's underwater, anywhere from 80 to 30, 40-foot range, and guys don't realize or know or remember it's there, they're not really focused on that, they're fishing the shore, that's a killer place to catch them, is on that bridge. The other same thing is off of the old dam at McClure. But there's a bunch of island tops too, if you know where they're at. There's a couple unmarked ones too that are when the lake's really low. They just don't mark them because the lake's not that low very often. The lake can get really dangerous once that bridge is actually exposed. There's times I've been at that lake before when the bridge was out of the water by like 20, 30 feet. Like literally, and the pillars were sticking out like 100+ feet in the air, just like giant pillars, and then out by them in the middle of the lake, it's like 120 feet deep. Like, what the hell? I've seen some crazy shit. Like, I seen McClure so low that McClure South ramp was closed, McClure North ramp was closed. The only ramp open at Lake McClure was Barrett South, and it was a dirt ramp. So I've seen McClure bad, like super low. I'm sure a lot of you guys have too, though, But yeah, Cotton's a good place. Yeah, a lot of people know about the bridge when it's out of the water. And they're like, "Oh, look at that big ass bridge right there." Well, if you know the lake really well, that bridge, there's train. It's a train bridge, and there's train tunnels. And then all along the lake, wherever that train went, they dug out where the points are. And the points will go like, the point will go down, it'll flatten out, and then it'll make like an island like this. Where what they did is they ran the train through the gully, and then all the dirt that they had to dig out is piled up like this. So it goes like this, and then the train bed, right? The where the tracks were, and then right on the other side of the tracks, there's these dirt mounds that are about 20 feet, big rock mounds, rock piles that are about 20 feet tall, like the Snelling Dredger stuff. They're big old rock piles, and they're wherever they ran that train bridge, or sorry, the train tracks. They're all along, and then there's like 3 train tunnels at McClure, and there's also pillars down more going towards Horseshoe Bend on the right hand side. There's a cove that has 2 pillars in them as well when the lake level's right. So I know that lake like the back of my hand, all the way from when that sucker's full to when that sucker is like bone dry, can't even launch a boat out of it, like it's a river. And the old dam's out the water hella high, and there's only one ramp open, and it's dirt, and it's like launch at your own risk. And then there's islands and big old boulder piles that aren't marked when it's that low. It's freaking awesome. McClure's crazy good when it's that low, because the fish are all condensed. They're all down by the dam. They're all South Lake. They're all Main Lake. They're all pulled up, and they're all like, all the fish are condensed into one hole. I've seen like all of that year it was like that. You couldn't go past Horace. You couldn't even get into Horseshoe Bend. Horseshoe Bend was all dry, all of it. It was all dry, all the way. There was like this little tiny little canal that went and it wrapped around towards where I got my one of my digit bass on video. One of my first double digits on this channel, or my first double digit on this channel. The get the net, it's a DD. That video where that was at, that was like the farthest in the lake you could drive up. And so basically most people fish between like Piney and Arnold and down to the dam, and it was like a river. And the train bridge and the pilings had most of the fish on them, that or down by the old dam. So when the lake gets that low, the fish all pile up into those two main positions where the old dam's at and where the old train bridge is. So yeah, that video is in the intro to a lot of my videos. I have an intro, so I have two intros that sometimes I insert them into the beginning of my videos, like an intro. And I don't know whether that hurts the videos or not, because it's like a 45-second intro and it's like a montage of all of like some of my best stuff from the first year. Or if you go to my channel, it's the video that as soon as you go to my channel, it's the main video, and it's me catching the double digit bass. Well, that spot where I caught that double digit bass at McClure, that's the farthest up you could go at McClure at a certain point. Like, it was so crazy to see the lake that low. It was insanity. Like, all of Horseshoe Bend was dry, like a big desert. And then when you see Horseshoe Bend is the most plain piece of shit looking place on the whole lake. That's why I don't fish it much, I'll be honest. Horseshoe Bend's a lot of spotted bass, schooling bass, a lot of numbers. But unless the creeks and the water's flowing in, then there could be some big bass. And there's a couple places I've done good in Horseshoe Bend. But once I've seen Horseshoe Bend completely empty and realized how just like plain it was, with no rocks, no big chunk rocks, no trees, no nothing. Horseshoe Bend, if you drive up the 132 like you're going to Greeley Hill, when you catch McClure in a drought year, it's just like a desert. There's like nothing. It's just these like dirt. It's just all dirt structure. So it's all like current. So there's nothing really for big bass. There's no reason for them to be in Horseshoe Bend. So if you fish McClure, my biggest advice is stay the hell away from Horseshoe Bend. It's garbage. It's where there's a lot of staging, small spots that might be picking on baits and stuff like that. There's some good spots in Horseshoe Bend, don't get me wrong, but it depends on the time of year. So when there's water coming in from Bagby, Horseshoe Bend can be badass. It can be fire. When there's water coming in from even the Horseshoe Bend Creek right there by the campgrounds and all that, it can be fire. When the lake's high like that and during spawn, Horseshoe Bend can be fire. But once the lake kind of dies down and the water's no longer coming into the lake right there, I don't really do good there much unless the bait's really piled up there. And you can go check. There's a place called Schoolhouse and a couple other places right out in the middle where you can go check around, and you can check the main channels basically. And if there's no bait out there, get the hell out of there. But Horseshoe Bend's a good spot sometimes where you can find like million fish between 1 and 3 pounds, on big bait balls during the winter and fall or certain times of the year. But if you want to catch like, big bass at McClure, those swim baits and stuff, get on Main Lake points, because McClure has a lot of largemouth. But the problem is here, McClure was a largemouth only lake. And sometime in the late 70s, some piece of shit jackass brought the spotted bass from over on the East Coast or whatever, mid-east, over here to California and fucked all our lakes up. I wish I could find who that dirtbag was and beat the shit out of them. And so these lakes, the spotted bass only got introduced in the late 70s. So I started fishing in the late 80s. So this was literally like only 10 years in. So McClure, when I was like a 10-year-old kid, 12-year-old kid going fishing with my friends, McClure had a shit ton of largemouth, shit ton of nice big largemouth, not that many spotted bass. You catch more largemouth. You go fishing, catch 10 fish, seven of them be a largemouth, three would be spotted bass. Now it's inverted where you catch 20 spotted bass to one or two largemouth. So if you want the big bass at Lake McClure, you're going to target largemouth and you're basically going to fish shallow. And the way to do that is going to be with some jigs and some other stuff, S wavers, crankbaits and spinner baits and big top water, swim baits and Huddlestons and stuff like that. Especially at McClure, trust me. 10:16, guys. We're going to go ahead and jump off for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. Keep the notification bell checked. We are going to do a giveaway soon. So basically, I'm thinking probably next week I'm going to get a Bass Pro Shop gift card. We'll do our first live stream giveaway like we used to do back in the days. We'll do the wheel of names, and we'll get that shipped out. We'll make sure everyone gets what they won. And let's keep this thing going on. So appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for hanging out.